Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to Primary Market Chatter, brought to you by Sunday Investing. This is the December 2nd week IPOs edition. We will be covering this one in two parts. A couple of us were supposed to travel, but then Indigo happened, and it happened to a lot of people. I'm hoping all of you are well and were not hampered with all the disruptions which happened. But yeah, if you were, I'm hoping that the impact is now minimum. But yeah, so I'm still at home. I didn't travel, so I thought I'll do the space on a Sunday. And like we had done last time, we are again back on a Sunday. So this is no more a Monday investing. This is again back to being a Sunday investing space. चार कंपनियों की बात करेंगे आज, दो एसएमई की बात करेंगे, दो मेन बोर्ड की बात करेंगे. We'll start with this company called Methodhub SME. Then we'll move to the second company, which is Luxury Times, both of which are SME. And then the third company we'll be covering is Wakefit. And the fourth company we'll be covering is Corona Remedies. So that's the agenda for the day. But yeah, before we actually get started, a couple of things. One, we are not SEBI registered research analysts. So anything that we say is not qualified opinion. ये कुछ भी qualified नहीं opinion. Don't take anything on face value. Definitely do your due diligence. आप ऐसा मान के चलो कि हम जो भी बोल रहे हैं उसमें एजेंडा है. अगर आप ऐसा कोई कुछ भी बोल रहा है उसमें एजेंडा है, एंड देन उस हिसाब से आप अपना एनालिसिस करें, then the probability of going wrong goes down multiple folds, right? So definitely do that. And the second thing which we want to highlight is, if you haven't joined our YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that. मैं अभी यहाँ पे जो एक कंपनी की बात करेंगे हम, लग्जरी टाइम्स की, उसकी हमने नो योर प्रमोटर सीरीज में कवर भी किया है, उनसे बात किया है प्रमोटर से. सो वो यूट्यूब चैनल पे, सो गो अहेड एंड वॉच द promoter interviews as well. And again, I have one slide compared. The number of views that I expect on a Know Your Promoter series are not what are. These are good opportunities to be able to speak to the management directly, because again, nobody can give you a more unfiltered version than the management. So definitely listen to them in order to make a view with respect to the companies. एक और कंपनी का हम नो ईयर प्रमोटर डाल दिया है, विच इज केवी टॉयज. विल नॉट बी कवरिंग केवी टॉयज बिकॉज वी हैव अ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट देयर. But yeah, that is how we'll get started. One more thing, if you have any questions, please go ahead and post them in the chat box. We'll be taking questions as well. But yeah, with that, we'll get started. Also, if you have joined the space after long, please do follow Sunday Investing as well. ये जो हमारा ट्विटर चैनल है, इसी से ही अब सब स्पेसेस होती हैं, इसी पे ही सब यूट्यूब लिंक्स वगैरह डाले जाते हैं. सो मेक श्योर दैट यू आर फॉलोइंग संडे इन्वेस्टिंग यूट्यूब ट्विटर अकाउंट एज वेल. दिस इज द वन विच इज होस्टिंग ऑल स्पेसेस. But yeah, with that, let me set up Methodhub Software, the first company we'll be talking about. Incorporated in 2016, company is an IT service provider. The company offers next-gen business solutions to enhance the digital transformation journey of clients across the globe. तो आईटी सर्विस प्रोवाइडर कंपनी है, बड़ा आईपीओ है, 103 करोड़ का आईपीओ है, जिसमें से 88 करोड़ सी फ्लैश है, 15 करोड़ का ओएफएस है. सो बड़ा आईपीओ विथ ओएफएस. सो आई नो सचिन इज गोइंग टू रिव्यू इट, सो ही विल नॉट बी हैप्पी. बट या लेट्स सी. मार्केट कैप की बात करें तो मार्केट कैप 366 करोड़ पे आ रही है कंपनी. FY25 फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करें तो रेवेन्यू 136 करोड़ का है, पैट 11.5 करोड़ का है. मे बी आई एम मिसिंग समथिंग, बट या बेसिस दैट इट सीम्स लाइक 30-32 PE. But I understand there is some consolidation, so maybe मैंने pro forma वाले number नहीं पकड़े. Maybe Sachin, when you're talking about it, do mention that as well. In terms of the LM is Horizon Management Services. So over to you, Sachin, to talk about Methodhub.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
All right. So this Methodhub, they started not very long ago, around 2016, 2017 only. And what they do is they offer these IT services, offshore IT services from India to all of these big foreign MNCs. They have clients like TransUnion is there, which is the largest credit scoring company that helps in these credit score reports. One Halliburton is there, which is into oil fields. There is one Canadian telecom company. So all of these companies have large databases, computer systems to handle, etc. And they also have to offer cyber security and all of those security protocols, etc. as well for all these data, and managing the customer interaction as well, incorporating AI, etc. So all of these services is provided by this Methodhub. So instead of building these services by themselves, these companies outsource these services to companies like Methodhub, and from there is these companies from that area, these the companies like Methodhub get their most of the revenues. So they have offices in 4 to 5 locations currently: Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Mohali, and they also have some teams in Atlanta, US, and one for in Canada as well, to meet the overseas clients, to get the new inquiries in etc. as well. So basic work is cloud work, is they are doing like moving companies data to these cloud servers, AWS, Azure, etc. They also offer these AI automation tools that is newly developing, and they are also deploying these tools at the client sites and helping them get better analysis of the data. They also offer this cyber security services as well. Then they offer that basic ERP structure as well. And after that, all of these come with their annual maintenance contracts, like 24/7. These Indian guys are working for them to fix bugs, monitoring systems, etc. So this is the basic profile of their revenue and business model. Now coming to their revenue mix, around 40 to 45% comes from this banking finance sector. 30-35% is from the telecom sector, and the rest is from this healthcare, oil and gas segment, etc. as well. And they are talking of all of the buzzwords that are currently floating: AI, machine learning, modern tools, and there are also customer interactions, CX, etc. So all of these words are mentioned in the RHP as well, and when the management was also interviewing. Now coming to their financials in FY23, they did around 36 CR of revenues. That jumped to 45 CR in FY24, and then that jumped to around 58 CR in FY24, and then with around 10% EBITDA margin. In FY25, they got more contracts and more AMC contracts as well, and the revenue jumped to 136 CR with around 12.5 to 13% EBITDA, and similar higher PAT margin as well, around 9 to 10%. Now till H1, they have done around 80 CR, and they have done a much better PAT margin as well here in the current year, around 12 to 13%, and the EBITDA has also gone up more than 15% or so. So now coming to, especially for this year, they are saying that we have given the how they have for these Atlanta and Canadian clients. They have got LOIs for 2 new acquisitions. One is California based, and one is Dallas based. One is into supply chain, and the other is into government department. So that should add around 30 to 40% of revenues in the second half of the year, for which the letter is already signed, the deal is done, the due diligence is also done. So all of that is done, and for that only they are using this IPO proceeds to some extent. The estimated cost that they were saying was around 65 to 70 CR. So I'll cover that when we cover this IPO usage. Now, for all of these expenses and all these acquisitions that they have mentioned, the breakup is not very, you can say, detailed for the IPO fund usage. So that was one reason why some queries were raised, like why the breakup is not given, especially for these unspecified acquisitions. So there is one thing that breakup is not given, but the manager clarified that we were not to hamper the negotiations that were going on with these clients, and there are some competitor entities as well that are looking to acquire. So for that only the details of these specific details amount wise was not given for these acquisitions. Now coming to the strengths of these customers, they have good relationship with all these clients, the MNC's client as well, and they are saying that their attrition rate is also low, around 5 to 8% only, and they are saying that we are getting more people coming in, and we are also partnering with the universities, just like the recent TechD and this Exato are saying. The similar things are this company is also saying. Also, they are saying that these acquisitions, they are just ready to hit, and we would just need the funds, and the revenues will start getting combined or consolidated in FY26 only. Now, coming to what they are saying, that they are projecting around more than 70 to 80% growth for FY26 on the back of what they did in FY25, with similar or better PAT margins. slightly better, given the acquisition cost and all of this will take time. So that would hurt the margins, but still the margins would be better than the FY25. Now coming to this IPO fund usage, from the fresh issue, apart from the OFS, they are using 13 CR to repay their borrowings, and they are also using around 25 CR for their working capital. They also have one US subsidiary which handles all these clients and inquiries. That would be around 4 CR usage. So that would also serve for the subsidiaries working capital. And the rest is for GCP and unidentified these acquisitions. Now, in the pre-IPO, there were decent names here. There was Invicta was there. Mr. Hemant Gadodia was also there. Is also from Invicta. There are some. There is a Lalit Dua also there. There is Chhattisgarh Investments. So some other names, etc., were also there. Now, coming to the pricing, the in FI as per FY25, it definitely looks higher, given it's more than 25 to 30 times, near 25 30 times. But given the what they are projecting, and they are certain to acquire these companies in FY26, so it's probably coming around 10 to 11 times FY26. And what they're saying that for FY27, we would generally grow more than 50 to 60% on this FY26 base, given the acquisitions will come in and they will give consolidation for the full year. So that should help for the FY27. Now, coming to the lead manager, Horizon, decent enough repute in the market. The anchor list had good names, around 17 names in the anchor list. There was Sanchi Fund, NAV Capital, and there is a Smart Horizon Fund is also there. Rajasthan Global is there again as well. So those are for the anchor. So I think that the management is good, but again it is just those basic services only, IT services only. But given the presence of all these people in pre-IPO and in anchor as well, I think that the IPO price is protected as well as there is some listing pop as well, given what they are projecting for FY26. So personally would be applying on this one. That's all.
थैंक यू सचिन. मेरे 3-4 क्वेश्चन है यार.
Right.
बिफोर वी एक्चुअली गेट स्टार्टेड, इसमें प्रमोटर होल्डिंग कितनी है? प्री में नंबर गलत देखा क्या? इज इट वेरी लो?
Yeah, it is low. अभी इसमें एक मिनट में बता रहा हूँ. Promoter holding, they already diluted a lot, तो वो तो उनका
और
सही.
उसके बाद भी अभी डाइल्यूट कर रहे हैं, and उसके बाद भी ओएफएच भी कर रहे हैं.
Right. Around 36% it was pre-IPO and 27-28% post-IPO.
तो आप समझ लो 27-28% होल्डिंग के बाद भी अगर कोई ओएफएच कर रहा है, आर यू कॉन्फिडेंट ऑफ द बिजनेस? व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन? सेकंड क्वेश्चन.
Second, देखिए बिजनेस कॉन्फिडेंस ऐसा लॉन्ग टर्म तो इतना भी नहीं है. बेसिस शॉर्ट टर्म, आई एम सेइंग दैट शॉर्ट टर्म पे हो सकता है, लॉन्ग टर्म पे बिल्कुल भी नहीं, क्योंकि है तो एट द एंड ऑफ द डे दे आर ट्रेडिशनल आईटी सर्विस, राइट.
बट आपने बोला क्लाउड विलाउड पे कन्वर्ट करते हैं, राइट? तो उसका कुछ है क्या मोड?
नहीं, कोई मोट नहीं, कोई क्लाउड पे तो क्या बोलते हैं, एक्साटो इज आल्सो कन्वर्टिंग, टेकडी वाज आल्सो सेइंग समथिंग सिमिलर, एंड दैट वर्कमेट्स वर आल्सो सेइंग समथिंग सिमिलर. ऑल आर कन्वर्टिंग टू क्लाउड.
हाँ,
नथिंग.
पर उनको तो पीआर पी मिल रहा है ना.
हाँ, लेकिन इनको उतना नहीं मिलना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से.
क्यों? वो इज द राइट पीआर अकॉर्डिंग टू?
राइट पेयर के अदर देन राइट पेयर, द वैल्यूएशंस जो है इनकी अराउंड 15 to 20 टाइम्स आई ओनली एक्सपेक्टेड टू डेट. उसमें इनको कोई भी पेयर मिल जाए और फिर फ्लोट उनका कंट्रोल हो जाए तो दैट इज अनदर थिंग. तो वर्कमेट्स में हो गया, वो चल गया, वो अलग बात है. अब इसमें पॉसिबल है कि नहीं, वो तो मैं नहीं कह सकता.
गॉट इट. एक और क्वेश्चन है मेरा कि इसमें FY26 आपने कहा 10 टाइम्स पे, तो उसके लिए तो 36 पैट आना पड़ेगा, राइट?
राइट.
और वो कैसे आएगा? क्योंकि एक्विजिशन तो अब जाके होगा, तो एक ही
हाँ,
क्वार्टर का कंसोल होगा, राइट?
एक क्वार्टर को होगा, लेकिन वो कह रहे हैं कि जो लास्ट क्वार्टर है दैट इज द मोस्ट सब्सटेंशियल पार्ट फॉर दिस ओवरसीज कंपनीज. So around 30 to 40% of this for the FY26 projected figure that will come from these acquisitions.
तो अप्रोक्सीमेटली ऐसा बोला जा रहा है कि 30 to 35 सीआर का बॉटम लाइन है, करेक्ट?
Correct. After the acquisition.
FY26.
Right.
And then it is further going like 50 CR का bottom. in FY27? अगर 30-40% growth मान लो तो
हाँ 50-50 around 50-55.
45. Oh wow, crazy number. तो उस हिसाब से तो वैल्यू आर्बिट्राज बनता है. मे बी दैट कैन बी प्लेड.
हाँ
आई
वो
नो दैट.
ये पॉइंट है क्योंकि बिजनेस मॉडल इज नॉट समथिंग वेरी यूनिक क्योंकि बहुत सारी कंपनीज इंडिया में भी हैं दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग सिमिलर सर्विसेज बट जो प्रोजेक्शंस हैं रेवेन्यू बेसिस पे एंड व्हाट दे आर कमिंग इन एट FY26 तो वो एक थोड़ा बहुत कंफर्टिंग फैक्टर है एटलीस्ट ऑन द वैल्यूएशन साइड.
Understood. Yeah, at least in terms of short term, enough names. Although it's a big IPO, it's a 100 CR IPO, so I'm not sure how it will run. But then the anchor list was also decent, so I'll probably apply some and then see. That is what with respect to Methodhub. I know that quite a few good names were also involved with the company, so can be taken a bit per se. But Rohit, Tanmay, you guys have anything to add on Methodhub, or we can go ahead and talk about the second company?
No, man, I don't like the sector.
Perfect. With that, moving forward and talking about the second company will be covering. Wait, let me add Tanmay. Yeah. The second company we'll be covering is Luxury Time Limited. But if you haven't followed this Twitter channel, Sunday Investing, please go ahead and do that. This is where we'll be doing all our spaces going forward as well. So setting up Luxury Time Limited. Incorporated in 2008, companies engaged in the distribution, marketing, retailing, and after-sales services of Swiss luxury watches, along with the distribution of watch-related tools and equipment in India. So watches की company है, luxury watches की, very interesting segment. Second company to get listed in this luxury watches segment. IPO की बात को तो बहुत ही छोटा IPO है, 17 crores का IPO है, out of which 14 crores fresh है. So it seems that जब से 20% SEBI ने 20% cap लगाया है OFS पे, people have assumed कि 20% OFS तो करना ही है. So yeah, 17 CR का IPO है, out of which 14 CR is fresh, 3 CR is OFS. Cap जिस पे कंपनी आ रही है, that's 68 crores. तो वैल्यूएशन छोटी ही है. FY25 फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो रेवेन्यू 61 करोड़ है, पैट 4.3 करोड़ है. So basis that they are coming at like 15-16 times FY25, which seems decent. In terms of the LM is GYR Capital. So एक बार इसकी बात करते हैं कंपनी की, लग्जरी टाइम की. सो बेसिकली कंपनी 2008 की कंपनी है, हेडक्वार्टर्ड इन न्यू दिल्ली एंड एक्सक्लूसिव डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर है फॉर टैग ह्यूअर. Majorly, most of its revenue comes from Tag Heuer. वो B2B वॉच का डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का धंधा है. उसके अलावा इंटीग्रेटेड मॉडल है इनका, जिसमें ये B2B वॉच तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते ही हैं. मतलब B2B वॉच डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कैसे हुआ, जैसे जो भी बड़े रिटेलर हैं उनको ये लोग वॉच देते हैं B2B में, ठीक है. उसके अलावा D2C और ई-कॉमर्स पे भी बेचते हैं. उसके अलावा इनका आफ्टर सेल्स सर्विस सेगमेंट भी है, PR मार्केटिंग भी करते हैं ये, और जो टूल्स लगते हैं वॉच को कुछ सेल होता है या जो अंदर अगर कुछ खराब हो जाती है तो वो टूल्स की जो कंपनी है उनके भी ये ऑथराइज्ड एक्सक्लूसिव डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर है. तो जैसे टैग ह्यूअर हो गया, जेनिथ हो गया, बॉम्बर्ग हो गया, और कुछ टूल्स की कंपनी है जैसे बर्गियन वगैरह, उन सब की ये ऑथराइज्ड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर है. सो इनके कुछ 70+ पॉइंट ऑफ सेल है नेशन वाइड. और इसके अलावा इनके पास इंटरेस्टिंगली 2 सर्विस सेंटर भी हैं, एक दिल्ली में एक बॉम्बे में, जिसमें ये लोग जब घड़ी खराब हो जाती है, ये एक्सक्लूसिव स्विस वॉचेस, तो जो बनने के लिए आते हैं तो ये बना के देते हैं. ये जो दोनों सर्विस सेंटर हैं ये लोग एक एथोस के साथ जेवी में चलाते हैं करेंटली. एंड उसके अलावा इनके पास एक और 2 ह्यूलो करके एक बड़ी कंपनी है वॉच की, विच इज प्रिटी फेमस एंड लग्जरी ब्रांड. उसकी भी ये 2 मोनो ब्रांड बुटीक्स चलाते हैं, मुंबई पैलेडियम मॉल में और बैंगलोर मॉल ऑफ एशिया में. और ये दोनों भी ये लोग इथोस के साथ ही जेवी में चलाते हैं. सो कंपनी बेसिकली बहुत कुछ कर रही है. मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर ऑन द B2B साइड की. B2B जैसे एथोस ही इसका सबसे बड़ा डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर है ऑफ वॉचेस. तो जैसे टैग ह्यूअर की वॉचेस सबसे ज्यादा एथोस पे बिकती है, और इसका धंधा आता है 78% ऑफ ऑल देयर रेवेन्यू इज फ्रॉम B2B डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन, आउट ऑफ विच 90% इज फ्रॉम टैग ह्यूअर. सो ऐसा मान के सकते हो कि इस कंपनी जैसे 50-60 CR जो भी टॉप लाइन किया, उसमें से अराउंड 70% बिजनेस, विच इज 40 CR इज फ्रॉम सेल ऑफ टैग ह्यूअर वॉचेस, जो मोस्टली एथोस उसमें से एक बड़ा क्लाइंट है. सो इट इज अ वेरी स्मॉल नीश सेगमेंट इन विच दे ऑपरेट इन, एंड मेजरली ये B2B काम करते हैं. और उसके अलावा जो भी एंसिलरी वॉचेस में काम होता है कि आफ्टर सेल्स सर्विस हो गई, और उसके अलावा किसी कंपनी की PR करानी है या ब्रांडिंग वगैरह करानी है तो उसके लिए जो इवेंट वगैरह ऑर्गेनाइज कराते हैं, ये सब काम कंपनी करती है. और उसके अलावा जो भी D2C या ई-कॉमर्स पे टैग व्यूअर बिकती है वो भी ये काम करते हैं. So that is the current scale of operations. Most of the operations are from your B2B sales. B2B sales, most of the revenue is coming from. Then there is small revenue coming from other things like FY25 financials की बात करो तो FY25 financials में कंपनी ने FY25 कंपनी ने 60 CR का टॉप लाइन किया था. तो 60 CR में से अराउंड 48 crores came from B2B watch. उसके अलावा अराउंड 7 करोड़ D2C और ई-कॉमर्स पे जो बेचा उससे आया. एंड अगेन बोथ ऑफ दीज आर लोअर मार्जिन सेगमेंट्स, क्योंकि यहाँ पे B2B में बेच रहे हो राइट, तो आगे रिटेलर का भी मार्जिन रहेगा. और D2C में भी आप अगर बेच रहे हो या ई-कॉमर्स पे बेच रहे हो तो उसमें जो प्लेटफॉर्म है वो भी अपना मार्जिन रखेगा. आफ्टर सेल सर्विस से अराउंड 4.5 करोड़ का बिजनेस है. ये एक डिसेंट बिजनेस है. 45% ग्रॉस मार्जिन है. ब्रांडिंग PR मार्केटिंग से 50 lakhs का बिजनेस था जिसमें सब कुछ ही प्रॉफिट है. एंड टूल्स एंड मशीनरी से भी अराउंड 1 CR का बिजनेस था जिसमें 30% पैट मार्जिन का बिजनेस है. और ये जो बिजनेस है ये बढ़ रहा है क्योंकि इनने अभी खोला है वो बॉम्बे वाला चैप्टर. सो अभी तक ये बेसिकली एक B2B बिजनेस है एंड शुड बी लुक्ड एज अ B2B बिजनेस. इसका जो पीयर दिखाया गया है वो एथोस दिखाया गया है. पीयर पे बाद में आता हूँ, बट एथोस इज अ कोर B2C ब्रांड. एवरीबडी नोज की वॉच लेनी है तो एथोस से लेनी है. Like it is known, like it is a synonymous to watch industry versus this guy who is operating in the B2B segment. Now they want to go ahead and start in the B2C segment. इसके लिए ही ये IPO raise कर रहे हैं. So what they were saying is कि tier 2, tier 3 cities are now ready and bridge to luxury वहां पे सेल हो सकता है. So these watches which we see are super expensive, right? Like ये जो भी ह्यूब्लो वगैरह की वॉचेस आती हैं, दे आर लाइक 10 लाख रुपीज की भी वॉच आती है. लाइक स्टार्ट भी होती है, आती नहीं है शुड से, स्टार्ट होती है वहां से. सो व्हाट दे आर सेइंग इज कि द मैनेजमेंट इज सेइंग कि tier 2 cities like let's say, and again they don't, I'm just forming cities from my own mind, but cities like let's say Jaipur, Lucknow, Ahmedabad, all of these cities where people can't really buy luxury but they can buy bridge to luxury, like anywhere between 2 to 4 lakh rupees टाइप का जो रेंज होता है वॉच का, वो खरीदते हैं. तो ये लोग वहां पे 4 स्टोर खोलेंगे थ्रू द IPO मनी, जिसके लिए ये लोग कैपेक्स के लिए 2.5 CR रेस कर रहे हैं. और उसी में जो वो वॉचेस वगैरह रखेंगे 50-60 वॉचेस, उसका ही जो वर्किंग कैपिटल लगेगा 9 CR, वो ये इस IPO से रेस कर रहे हैं. एंड फिर दे विल ट्राई एंड सेल थ्रू this B2C model and essentially get higher, because all of this model would essentially, if successful, would be a much higher, much better model, right? Because B2C is where most of the margins are. So that is what they are planning to do. It would be difficult, like it would be interesting to see how they are able to be successful for it. The idea for not opening it in metros is again probably not to compete directly with Ethos, क्योंकि Ethos ही इनका सबसे बड़ा कस्टमर भी है, क्योंकि उसी के आउटलेट्स पे वॉचेस बिक रही हैं, राइट. तो अगर तुम उसी से कम्पीट करने जाओगे तो वहां पे वो वॉच बेचना बंद कर सकता है टैग यूवर की, राइट. तो दे आर ट्राइंग टू इन अ वे बी अ फीडर टू एथोस, जहाँ पे जो भी ये tier 2, tier 3 सिटीज है जहाँ पे या तो एथोस का उतना बड़ा प्रेजेंस नहीं है या तो फिर एथोस कंपेरेटिवली छोटा है, वहां पे ये लोग ये शॉप्स खोल के लग्जरी वॉचेस बेचना चाह रहे हैं एंड समहाउ वर्क विथ एथोस इन दैट इकोसिस्टम. इन टर्म्स ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल्स, अगर फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो FY24 में कंपनी ने 50 CR का टॉप लाइन किया था एंड 2 CR का बॉटम लाइन किया था. FY25 में 60 हुआ वो, एंड उसमें से 4 CR का बॉटम लाइन किया है. और FY26 में फर्स्ट 6 months में इन्होंने 24 CR का टॉप लाइन किया है. According to management, the business is slightly seasonal, where H2 will be greater than H1, क्योंकि H2 में दिवाली वगैरह होती है तो लोग गिफ्ट ज्यादा करते हैं ऑन वॉचेस, एंड शादियां होती है, मेनली शादियों में काफी वॉचेस खरीदी जाती हैं. बट स्टिल वन मेजर रीजन फॉर द फॉल इन रेवेन्यू इज इनका एक BCCI का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट था टैग यूर वॉचेस का, वेयर दे गिव वॉचेस टू ऑल IPL प्लेयर्स और समथिंग, जो कि इस बार रिन्यू नहीं हुआ. तो उसकी वजह से नंबर H1 में थोड़ा सा कम है. सो not sure where the number would land in FY26, but not expecting a huge growth as such in the business at a very high level, if I'm correct. So that is with respect to the business. जैसा मैंने बताया FY25 पे 15 टाइम पे आ रही है, FY26 पे 15 टाइम पे ही होगी. Like revenue PAT should be somewhere around similar, right? 4.5 आप मानोगे 68, so 4.5 68 is around 14-15 times. Ethos जो है वो 84 times पे ट्रेड करता है. So there is a lot of gap between Ethos जिसको इसका peer दिखाया गया, and this guy is at 15, Ethos is at 84. It's a very, very small IPO, so there is full possibility of it being cornered and moving to the moon. But what we need to see is that Ethos has been consistently growing over the last 3-4 years at a very huge pace. FY22 में they did 570 crores. Like FY21 से चालू करते हैं. After COVID, 21 they did 400 crores. FY22 577. FY23 800 crores. FY24 1000 crores. FY25 1250 crores, and in the current trailing 12 months they have done 1411. So they're consistently doing 25% year over year. So they have been cutting their PE very, very fast, because of which the higher PE the market is ready to give, because it's again one of those sweet segments जहाँ पे 25% तुम grow करते रहो, तुम्हें market, especially at a large scale market, will keep rewarding you. Versus this guy who in FY24 had done 50, FY25 had done, sorry, FY23 had done 52. Then FY24 was flat, slightly lower, 2% down at 50. Then FY24 was, 25 was 20% up at 60, and then FY25 would probably again be flat to slightly lower apparently. From the looks of it, can be wrong, but yeah, they have a lot to cover per se 25 kiya in 6 months mein. So growth एक concern है, so I would probably not be slightly reluctant to hold it for a long period of time, but in the short term it is a definite apply, simply because the uh, differentiation between the two is huge. And if this company had came a year ago, then market wouldn't have looked at anything. They would have just looked at 15 P, 84, chalo le chalte hain. Markets have slightly changed and evolved over a period of time over the last 1 year, but I still think there is some scope and definite scope at IPO price, and GMP भी बहुत अच्छा है 100%. So everything else what I have spoken about is essentially null and moot point if you think about it that way. But again, in terms of long term, I have already spoken about my POV with respect to the company. In the short term, I would apply and hope to get allotment, although the allotment would be very, 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 very difficult. Simply because it's a very, very small IPO. Very few lucky people will get. So let's see. But yeah, that is with respect to luxury time. Anything that Rohit, Tanmay, Sachin, you guys have to add?
How will I get allotment?
वो आपको जय भोलेनाथ करना पड़ेगा and then apply करना पड़ेगा and see. Let's hope you get one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm when I first saw this IPO, I thought it could be the next Anandita Cupid single what do you call it, peer company at an extremely high valuation. But if you study this company, Anandita is very similar to Cupid. This is very different from Ethos. Ethos is an actual retailer. It's their own branded stores. This guy is just a distributor. No numbers, no growth. It's honestly this is why I'm shocked that the market is willing to give it a 2x on listing. Yeah, it doesn't fit any of the requirements for it to sustain a high PE. So I would be very surprised if this sustains. I don't even see why they should list at 2x and why it shouldn't just list flat. Not that it will, obviously. Now the hype is built and clearly people are jacking things up, but I don't see a fundamental reason why this will do well.
So I'll give you some perspective with respect to that, because I had also spoken to the management, and maybe that is a good pointer to kind of go ahead and look at it as well. There's a management interaction pinned in the pinned comments as well, तो आप वहाँ पे जाके देख सकते हो. But management essentially अभी चालू कर रहा है, right? वो B2C. So there, if you believe in the India retail story and believe that there is a bridge to luxury which is possible, so in a way, because they are very tightly integrated with Ethos, right? So they are like, they already have the know-how of how to understand the luxury watch market. They have been operating in it. इनको ये भी know-how है कि कैसे branded mono brand stores chalane. They are managing two in for Hublot. So if they are able to do those four well and can grow on top of that, then what the current growth can be just like completely ignored, and you can continue to grow from here where your B2B is doing 50 and then you are growing your B2C very, very fast. On top of that, that 4 can become 8, 8 can become 12 in the future. But again, that can be one story which people have to find out. In the short term, I understand there can be some pain because this growth, if it has to come from the B2C side, it will take time. It's not going to be very fast.
Yeah, I mean, the market is not rewarding any story that is 6 months or 12 months out. I don't see why it should be different for this company. I get that there is a story, but the story is well in the future. So again, I don't get it. Doesn't mean that it won't list 100% because it's clearly going to now. But this looks very blind ethos copy chipkao and make it list and then dump it when the anchors unlock.
Okay. That's very brutal in terms of review. I was still but yeah, we can have differing opinions, and I agree, market's not rewarding anything which is in future. So let's see what happens with this one. But yeah, no, there's nothing which is stopping it from being 1000x subscribed, and HNI is how I will put it. With that, we'll move forward and talk about the third company. The third company we'll do is Corona Remedies. Before that, just want to highlight कि अगर आपने space late join किया है, तो definitely go ahead and follow the Sunday Investing YouTube Twitter channel as well, जिससे हम ये space कर रहे हैं. We do all our spaces through this channel only now, and इसी पे ही हम YouTube links वगैरह डालते हैं when they come. आपके पास कोई question हो तो definitely post them in the chat box as well. The third company is Corona Remedies. Setting it up, incorporated in 2004. Company is a pharma company developing, manufacturing and marketing products in women's healthcare, cardiology, pain management, urology and other therapeutic areas. So proper pharma company लग रही है ये. 71 brands हैं इसके. And देखते हैं क्या क्या करती है. In terms of the IPO, it's a 655 crore IPO, all of which is a OFS. पूरा का पूरा OFS है. Market cap 6,500 crores पे आ रही कंपनी. टॉप लाइन की बात करूं तो FY25 में 1200 करोड़ 1209 करोड़ का टॉप लाइन था. 150 करोड़ का बॉटम लाइन था. सो इट्स कमिंग एट 50 टाइम्स FY25. 50 हुआ नहीं, 45 कुछ टाइम्स होगा. 40-45 के बीच में कुछ होगा. LM की बात करूं तो LM JM फाइनेंशियल, IIFL एंड कोटक है. सो व्हाट डू यू तन्मय टू टॉक अबाउट कोरोना रेमेडीज?
Is my voice clear?
Yeah.
So, Corona Remedies Limited is a domestic-focused pharmaceutical formulations company engaged in developing, manufacturing, and marketing products in chronic and acute therapies. तो आपको मैं इनका रेवेन्यू बाइफर्केशन बता देता हूँ. As per the therapeutics, women's health contributes to 28% of the revenue. Cardio diabeto, which is cardiac plus diabetes, contributes to 23%. Pain management is at 12%. Urology is at 4.5% of the top line, and others contribute to 32%. अदर्स में बहुत सारे गैस्ट्रो इंटेस्टिनल है, आपका विटामिन्स हो गया, न्यू और 2-3 चीजें मैंने देखी, वो सब है. And the company has got, उनका एक growth strategy ये रहा है कि they tend to acquire, family of brands from large MNC और Indian pharma companies. अभी तक 3-4 बार कर चुके हैं. So they had acquired Mayoril, from Sanofi in FY23, वहाँ से FY24 rather, और वहाँ से they have scaled the brand by almost like 2x. And that at this point contributes somewhat around 7-8% their top line. तो अभी तक सर्फे से किया है, I guess one from GSK. So total 4 अभी तक acquisition को they have got that track record of growing that way. The company has got facilities. One is in Gujarat, Bhaila, Gujarat, and one is in Himachal Pradesh, Solan. So at this point, the facility are running at somewhat around 95% पे वो चल रहा है. Gujarat का facility and Solan facilities at somewhat around 75 to 80% के, there's some number. Company also does its manufacturing of products from third-party manufacturers. Like somewhat around 30% of the products are manufactured by a third party. Company is raising 655.4 crores, completely an offer for sale, where the private equity investors capital and promoters are selling some of their stake. So it's somewhat around 10.05% dilution. Talking on the financials, FY23 में they did 884 crore का top line and EBITDA was 135 and PAT was at 85 crores. FY24 में there was some like 13% kind of a growth, 13-14% to 1015 crore का top line and PAT was at 90.5 crores. And FY24 5 में the growth was at 10%, 18-19% to 1196 crores and a PAT of 149 crores. So नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड कि इनका 24 से 25 में बिड्डा मार्जिन 15 से 19 पॉइंट सम परसेंटेज हो गया. सो आई कुड नॉट फाइंड द रीजन. देयर आर फ्यू रीजंस लाइक कि हमारा कैपेसिटी यूटिलाइजेशन बढ़ा, हमारा लॉजिस्टिक्स कॉस्ट अंडर कंट्रोल था एंड रॉ मटेरियल का प्राइस कम हुआ. बट लाइक स्टिल आई डोंट गेट कि आपका बिड्डा मार्जिन फ्रॉम 15 to 19.4 कैसे सडनली जंप हो जाता है. देयर इज वन मोर रीजन that given कि यार gross margins expanded from 76 to 80%, still it makes less sense. But ठीक है चलो. Q1 they did 348 crore का top line, 71.8 crore का EBITDA and 46 crore का PAT. So if you just look at annualized FY26 numbers, so they're somewhat around 1370 crore top line and somewhat around 180-185 crore का PAT, which is somewhat around 15% kind of a top line growth. And now, Philo, just look at this company. इनका capacity नहीं है अभी, So your Bhaila facilities at already at 95-96% जो और 98 के ऊपर 97 के ऊपर जा नहीं सकती. Even if you look at Solon, their dry tablets facilities at 93% utilization, or I guess कुछ liquid syrup is at 76 something. So still, there also the capacity is less, and there are very few lower value addition products जो आप third party से manufacture कराते हो. So I am not able to understand कि 27 का ग्रोथ भी कहाँ से आएगा और FY26 का भी कहाँ से आएगा. FY26 तो देर 15%, वो तो फिक्स ग्रोथ है. 27 का इट इज द ओनली थिंग कि जितना आपको प्राइस अप्रिसिएशन मिलेगा एंड थोड़ा और आप यूटिलाइज कर पाओगे, स्टिल इट वुड बी समवट अराउंड 8-10% ग्रोथ. सो they are expected to take their another facility that is into hormone manufacturing, which would be a backward integration of their women's health therapy. So that should go live in I guess Q2 of FY27, or कह रहे कि H2 में it should contribute very some to the growth, some part to that growth. But इसमें ये भी देखना है कि they had earlier arrangement with a another company from Gujarat. उनके साथ इनका guess this company has also invested in that company. They have picked the minority stakes. इसके कारण इसका backward integration, and now they are putting in their own facility कि वो backward integration का जो margin जा रहा है वो भी वो कम किया जाए. But not able to understand इसमें growth कैसी होगी. एपीआई को सेपरेटली बेचने वाले या फिर कोई नया प्रोडक्ट पुट स्टार्ट करना. सो आई फील ग्रोथ इज अ कंसर्न. नॉट टॉकिंग ऑन द पॉजिटिव्स एंड नेगेटिव्स ऑफ दिस कंपनी. इनका जो पोर्टफोलियो, इफ यू जस्ट एवरेज आउट द ग्रोथ ऑफ top revenue contributing therapies, it is somewhat around like 9-10%, 10.5% kind of a CAGR, where Indian pharmaceutical industry is growing at 18% CAGR. Cash flows इनके अच्छे हैं, रिटर्न रेशियोज अच्छे हैं, प्रॉफिट्स है. एक सबसे अच्छी बात मुझे कंपनी में लगी कि 97% ऑफ द 96.5% रादर रेवेन्यू comes from the Indian markets, domestic markets. तो इनका exports at this point is 3.5%. So this is positive as well as negative कि आप बाहर क्यों नहीं बेच रहे हो and आपको एक्सपोर्ट्स के क्यों नहीं जाना. सो व्हाट आर द रीजंस फॉर इट. बट इट इज ऑल्सो अ गुड थिंग कि ये जो फॉरेन आउट ऑफ इंडिया का यूरोप हो गया, साउथ नॉर्थ अमेरिका में जो वॉलेटिलिटी है, सो उसके कारण लाइक वॉट एवर इज हैपनिंग देयर, दिस कंपनी इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी लीस्ट इफेक्टिव अफेक्टेड हो रहेगी. सो ये अच्छी बात है. क्योंकि खराब प्रॉब्लम्स क्या है इसके अंदर. First is they don't have capacity to manufacture more products. So technically growth for next 2 years should be something around 10-15%. 15 में मुश्किल होगा, 12-13% kind of a growth. Next would be margins already बढ़ चुके हैं. यहाँ से कितने बढ़ेंगे, मतलब already 15 के आप 19.5% पे आ चुके हो. इसके बाद एक और चीज, लाइक आई फेल्ट कि दिस वाज नेसेसरी इन दिस आईपीओ वाज अ ग्रोथ कैपिटल. इफ यू जस्ट लुक एट देयर बुक्स, द बॉयज हैव गॉन फ्रॉम लाइक डेट फ्री, आई गेस 20-30 crores to like 110 crores, which is okay. 110 crores is not a large debt, but if you look at cash on books, it's somewhat around 70-80 crores, and they want to grow in future. Ideally they have to put in a large new facility, and the second one more route is acquiring new brands from another company और फिर उसको manufacture करके चलाओ. But so I feel this would require money, and they don't have that much money on the books. So I felt कि ये और ग्रोथ कैपिटल भी रेज कर सकते बिकॉज उनके बिजनेस में जरूरत थी, बट दे चोज टू डू फुल ऑफर फॉर सेल, एंड दैट ऑल्सो बट डायलूटिंग जस्ट 10.05% इक्विटी. जो मुझे नहीं समझ आया. उसके बाद द ग्रोथ ग्रोथ FY26 शुड बी समवॉट अराउंड 14 to 15.5%, नॉट बियॉन्ड दैट, नॉट बिलो 14%, वो रेंज में रहेगी. एंड 26 शुड बी अनदर 14, 13, 14, 12 to 14, 14.5% growth, which I feel is low given the valuations they are commanding. So 45 times के आसपास आ रहा है for 25 पे. 26 पे it is coming at like somewhat around like 28, 20 take a P, and 27 are coming at somewhat around 26 ka P. 27 ka P on FY27. So which is not cheap, क्योंकि आप peers देखोगे they are trading at somewhat around 25 to 30 times 27. But the size of their its peers are like 5 times 10 times than this, and margins are also better. और उनके इसमें अभी let's say Torrent for that matter they are acquiring JB Chemicals, which should add a large chunk, और वो JB का consolidation के बाद वो valuation बड़ा सस्ता हो जाएगा, 55p 30p हो जाएगा. If you just look at Eris is into very different portfolio. उनका growth has also been great. Therapies अलग है. Size of the company is large. तो आप Eris से इसको at least एकदम mark to mark valuation पे compare नहीं कर सकते हो. So like and another thing is कुछ छोटे छोटे litigations दिए हैं. And there is one more thing which was clearly said by the management, that Chris Capital would eventually offload its complete stake. So the Chris Capital was, I guess, another something 15% equity of the company, and they are mostly going to sell it completely in maybe next 1 year. So that overhang is going to continue. कि कभी ना कभी आगे Chris Capital बेच के जाएगा. So my view is very clear कि जहां पे ग्रोथ नहीं है, मार्केट्स आर नॉट वेरी ऑप्टिमिस्टिक, बट यस वेरी गुड फंडामेंटल कंपनी, प्रमोटर्स आर गुड. सो ओवरऑल आई फील कि द वैल्यू क्रिएशन इन दिस कंपनी एटलीस्ट इन द शॉर्टेस्ट टू मीडियम टर्म शुड बी वेरी वेरी लिमिटेड. और आप अगर थोड़ा रिस्क ले सकते हो तो यू कैन अप्लाई फॉर वेरी स्मॉल लिस्टिंग गेन्स. आई लाइक द प्रीमियम्स हैज बीन वेरी ग्रेट, 25% टाइप है आई गेस कुछ. But I don't understand why there should be that much premium for this company. Anchor book में ऐसा कुछ special नहीं था. There were very normal typical anchor investors, no FII and no our individual kind of funds, Sachin and I funds कोई नहीं थे. छोटा सा anchor book था, but still it looked very average to me. So long term अगर आपका view है तो it should be more than 1.5 year. And if you can take risk, you can apply for small listing in, but I don't understand why there should be listing ins. मतलब इसका एक ही आंसर है कि बहुत भरेगा. That is one of the only 2 IPOs which are closing. बाकी SME से भी कुछ ज्यादा competition है नहीं. So for that reason might be बहुत ज्यादा भर जाए और थोड़ा ऊपर खुल जाए. That is the one listed. बाकी तो I am not much convinced with the company.
अंडरस्टूड. तो ये तो वैसे याद आ रही है मेरे को, वो कंपनी आई थी जो फुल OFS था एंड
हाँ
कैपेसिटी
आप
फुल
ऑटो कंपनी का
यूटिलाइज
ही
थी.
एग्जांपल हमेशा देते हैं.
हाँ, क्या नाम था उसका, करारो.
करारो.
हाँ, तो अगर बट यहाँ पे एटलीस्ट किसी ने चैट में लिखा है दैट दे गेट 30 to 35% ऑफ देयर प्रोडक्शन डन फ्रॉम थर्ड पार्टी कंपनीज. सो दैट इज वन थिंग. मे बी
No,
दे
I've already
थिंक.
mentioned that, but यार क्या करते हो when you talk on third party, it is the low value addition work which you do from those. You don't do the whole end-to-end product. So it is not the solution to get growth.
गॉट इट. एंड प्रमोटर्स के पास अभी कितना है एंड PE होल्डर्स के पास कितना है?
1 minute दो, I'll just check.
Because growth is very important, right? Like especially like, and the market currently somehow is not very rewarding to small size raises as well. Small size raises are finding very difficult to find buyers in the current market. But ठीक है, pharma है, so I think IPO price should definitely be protected.
69% रहेगा IPO के बाद.
IPO के बाद 69 रहेगा तो ठीक है,
हाँ.
काफी है ना फिर तो.
But still 27.5% is on private equity. They are selling barely 4-5%. तो बाकी जो है आपका 17-18% वो तो बेचने आएगा.
कैसे आएगा? 25 तो अभी बेच रहा होगा ना।
ना
अच्छा, 600 का
10%
IPO।
डाइल्यूशन
अच्छा
ही पूरे
अच्छा, तो
आईपीओ में
उसको
भी
डाइल्यूट
प्रमोटर्स
नहीं
डूइंग सम
करना है,
ओएफएस।
समझ गया
हाँ,
समझ गया।
3% स्टेक इज सोल्ड बाय प्रमोटर, 7% इज ओन्ड बाय क्रिस कैप।
हम्म।
तो वो तो
क्रिस कैपिटल के तो अच्छे होते हैं IPO जनरली।
हाँ होते हैं, बट वो जनरली ओएफएस भी नहीं करते अच्छे आईपीओ में अपना, वो बाद में बेचते हैं, इधर आधा बेच रहे हैं, मतलब 40% ऑफ द स्टेक।
गॉट इट। आई हैवंट रियली
एंड
रेड
ऑल्सो
द
आई टेल यू
कंपनी
यार,
येट।
मतलब एंकर बुक देख के मुझे नहीं लगा कि इसमें क्या इतना ऑप्टिमिज्म है। वेरी प्रिटी एवरेज एंकर बुक, क्रिस कैपिटल की टिपिकल एंकर बुक ही नहीं है।
Okay, let's see how it evolves. I've yet to read the company, but peer you are saying are at 50-55 times, but they are much bigger.
नहीं मतलब पीयर्स आप देखोगे तो रेंज बताता है 28 से लेकर 65 के बीच में पीयर्स है। द मीन पी शुड बी समवॉट अराउंड 35 to 40, बट ये सारे पीयर्स की सबसे छोटी कंपनी है। And the two very direct comparable peers, I would say three are, two in terms of portfolio, one in terms of geography is Eris, Torrent, Eris, JB Chemical, and your Mankind Pharma. Mankind is due to that reason of 97% India, or baki do is due to portfolio, but all these are like 5 to 10 times larger. And even अभी let's say Mankind का IPO भी आया था 2 साल पहले, it was at somewhat around 32 P, it was not at 45 P.
ये वो एक कंपनी आई थी यार, वो शार्क टैंक वाली की, नाम भूल गया मैं उसका। क्या नाम था उसका? फार्मा कंपनी नाम था
एमक्योर
कुछ की। हाँ, वो किधर है?
वो है आई गेस 35 के आसपास, 35
अच्छा,
टाइम्स
तो उससे
35। हाँ
महंगी
बहुत
है।
महंगी है।
ठीक है, देखते हैं।
और उनका
लेट्स सी
उनका
व्हाट
पोर्टफोलियो
हैपेंस।
भी अलग है ना, वो हाई ग्रोथ पोर्टफोलियो उनका
हम्म।
पूरा। तो इसका भी है, बट इनके पास कैपेसिटी नहीं है वो ग्रोथ चलाने को। और एंड इवन FY27 में भी एक कंसर्न है ऑफ ग्रोथ, क्योंकि फैसिलिटी तो है नहीं आपकी, कहाँ से ग्रोथ करोगे। और इवन द न्यू फैसिलिटी विल कम, उसका डिप्रिसिएशन का कॉस्ट भी आएगा 5-10 करोड़ 15 करोड़ का इजीली, तो पैट तो उतना वहां से भी कम होगा।
नॉट
गॉट
बीइंग
इट।
इंडियन फार्मा में रह के ओवरसीज में ऑपरेशन नहीं है, तो वो मस्ट है इंडियन फार्मा में।
आई गेस 2.8% कुछ रेवेन्यू इनका खाली बाहर से आता है। एंड प्रमोटर ऑल्सो मेंशन दिस इन इंटरव्यू कि ये 90% प्लस तो इंडिया ही रहेगा इवन फॉर नेक्स्ट 2 years, ऐसा बोला है उन्होंने क्लियरली।
Got it. Let's see. Seems expensive. Prima facie, I will read more and then probably take a call. But yeah, with that, we have covered the third company. The fourth company we'll be talking. इसको भी अगर लगाए तो I'll apply only for short, like IPO, and then see from there. Fourth company we'll be covering is Wakefit Innovation, setting it up, incorporated in 2016. Company is an Indian D2C direct-to-customer home and sleep solutions company. I like such companies because I love to take naps. But best known for its high quality and affordable range of mattresses, furnitures, and home decor products. It sells products across 700 districts and इसका जो एक पीयर है शीला फोम, उससे काफी कंपैरिजन वायरल चल रहा है, वेयर दे आर सो चीप एंड these guys are coming expensive. You want to understand कि क्या स्टोरी है, क्योंकि अगेन ग्रोथ का इशू है फ्रॉम माय अंडरस्टैंडिंग. बट इन टर्म्स ऑफ सेटिंग अप द IPO, इट्स अ 1289 करोड़ IPO. 1300 करोड़ लगभग का IPO है. 375 करोड़ फ्रेश इशू है, बाकी लगभग 900 करोड़ का OFS है. मार्केट कैप 6,300 करोड़ पे कंपनी आ रही है, विच इज लाइक 700-800 मिलियन डॉलर्स. FY25 फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो 1,305 करोड़ का टॉप लाइन है. 1,305 करोड़ ने टॉप लाइन में किया है और पैट -35 है. तो लाइक ऑल न्यू एज कंपनीज, दिस इज not going anywhere different. This is also negative in terms of PAT or just positive. So ये negative है. 35 करोड़ का लॉस किया कंपनी ने FY25 में. LM की बात करूं तो LM Axis, IIFL and Nomura है. So over to you, Rohit, to talk about Wakefit.
Thanks, Manish. So Wakefit, the company started in 2016, and they started as a mattress company. So this was the time when I myself was in this furniture space. So I've tracked this company quite closely, and I understand the history of this company also to some extent. So back in 2013-14, there was this company in the US called Casper, which started with this concept of a mattress in a box, where they would vacuum seal mattresses and that allowed mattresses to be delivered to people's homes. It reduced the logistics costs and essentially allowed for D2C companies to for D2C companies to pick mattress as a category, because you could finally ship it to people's houses. Wakefit just took that concept. You basically can't compress a spring mattress, but you can compress a foam mattress. And Wakefit just literally copy pasted what Casper was doing and launched Wakefit in 2016 here in India. There were a bunch of these, copycat type of companies in the D2C space that were starting back then. And that is how Wakefit also started. So they started with this D2C mattress brand, but since then they have evolved quite differently, compared to, say, what happened to a Casper, which actually failed quite spectacularly. So these guys have then expanded into many of the other ancillary furniture categories. So they do hard furniture, they do bedding, so they do like accessories. So they do a bunch of other categories, decor and so on. Today matters about 60% of what they do, and the rest is some of these other categories. They also started as just a D2C business online on their own web. Actually, in fact, they started on marketplaces. And of course, with that comes your own website. Now they do omni-channel. They have their own stores. They sell in multi-brand outlets. So they've evolved a lot from what they began as. I think from a business model standpoint, I think what these guys are really focused on is actually owning the full stack. So the entire manufacturing, they have set up, I think, 5 factories, massive factories. Some of these are, I think one of them is the largest furniture factory in the country, doing, foam production, mattress production, uh, all kinds of different, wood processing and actually making of engineered wood, which was not something that was very prevalent in India. A lot of the engineered wood products used to actually get imported. Shisham wood and solid wood would happen. A lot of manufacturing happened in India, but these guys are doing everything, manufacturing across the value chain in furniture. They're doing it in-house. So they've gone down that route of just being absolutely full stack, plus also handling logistics, handling stores. Most of their stores are COCO stores, which is company owned, company operated. So they're really very tightly sort of doing this business. And I'll come to why I think they're doing that maybe later. But I think it's important to understand that this is not a asset light platform style business. This is a fairly asset heavy brand at the end of the day. So you can't compare this to, say, even a Lenskart for that matter, or a Nika or a Misho, or any of these platform businesses that sell multiple branded products and have, like, other kinds of monetization available. This is just a D2C brand. And they take on everything, manufacturing, factory, everything is with them. In terms of product pricing, I would say these guys are fairly mass premium segment. Even within the D2C segment, you'll see multiple layers of, mattress players. There are more expensive ones. There are those that bring technology from other countries. There's this, forgetting now, Sleepy something, Sleep one of these. I'm forgetting now. Sleep Company, sorry, which had brought this grid technology. Once they brought it, these guys also had it. So you'll see that these guys are, I wouldn't say they're innovative, but they're very fast followers. There was this US startup that started doing temperature tracking. Immediately these guys brought something like that. Then I think there was something that helps monitor your sleep. These guys also brought a similar product here. So these guys are very fast in bringing other products that exist in the world into India. So I wouldn't call them innovative, but they're definitely as close to, where the curve is as you would expect for a D2C company. As I mentioned, I think mattresses makes up about 60% of their revenue, but it is that segment itself is not growing that fast, probably double-digit growth, and it's more of the new categories that are really growing. Even in their channels, if you see their mix, their core online sales, which is their own sales, own website sales, is not really growing. It's kind of flatlined, and most of the growth is coming from either marketplaces or the stores, their own stores, which has grown very fast in the last 3 years. I think they started stores only in 22 or something, and now they have like 125 stores, and they're looking, I think, with the IPO proceeds to double the store count. So today, about 40% of their business just comes from offline, which has grown very fast in the last few years. Now, this is a very high margin segment. One good thing about furniture is it has always been a 55-60% kind of 55 to 60% gross margin kind of business, which means that at some point, if you're able to figure out a lot of the other costs, this segment can make you a lot of money. You have scope to make very high PAT. It's a little bit like, I say, beauty. as a segment, or cosmetics and all, these are segments which have 70% gross margin. So if you can figure some of the other things, even eyewear for that matter, that allows for at least the future PAT. You can build a model where the PAT can be very high in the future, unlike say models where you have 20-25% gross margin. So that's one thing that I like about this segment as a whole. But remember, this is everything else about this particular segment is very asset heavy, very logistics heavy, very painful. It's very operational. So yeah, that's one thing just to keep in mind. And that will always limit how fast this company can grow. I mean, today it's at its much smaller scale, is able to grow at around 25% year on year. One more point here is just on the capacity utilization. I've seen like a couple of interviews also, people saying capacity utilization is very high, 70, 80%, 90%. But here one thing to note is their utilization is based on what they call available capacity, which is much, much lower than their installed capacity. So available capacity is typically say done on just a single shift, and based on the current machines that they have. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but that's my understanding. Whereas the installed capacity is what that place can take if they were to run 3 shifts, which automatically almost triples the capacity. And it is quite possible to do 2.5 shifts for sure. And management has said that there is no real need for any major capex for the next 2.5 years. So I don't think capacity will constrain them. At least that's my understanding. Now, if I look at their numbers for this last year, they did about 1,200 odd crore revenue. This year in H1, they've done 740 crore. There's no, I think, year-on-year comparison. But one thing this time is that your sales, which is a very important period, your Big Billion Day, your Great Indian Sale and stuff, because Diwali was a little early, these sales also happened in September. So I think that there would have been a bit of a impact of that, where this H1 number is actually higher, and whatever typical split they might have had between H1 and H2, there is a chance that H2 may not be much more than H1, even if there's some organic natural growth. So just again keep that in mind. They did about 30 odd crore PAT in H1. There was a significant drop in the marketing expenses, I think by some 2.5% in H1, which the management did not explain very well, at least in 1 or 2 interviews where this was asked. So looks a little bit like this has been bumped up, because he does say that they expect it to be in the 7.5% range in a steady state. So this extra 2% margin that helped them become profitable, not that matters too much, but that helped them became profitable in H1 is, in my sense, not likely to be there in H2. Having said that, though, they are fairly confident that they can maintain their margins overall in the medium to long term. Things will only keep getting better from here as they scale and as they sweat their assets more and so on and so forth. This company is coming at 4 point, like even if I double H1, I'm not very sure how much more they'll do in H2 over H1. But even if they double H1, it's coming at about 4.2 times this year's sales. I think 4.7 times last year's sales. Honasa is an okayish peer. I think if I just look at a D2C, pure D2C business, not a platform, not a multi-brand, just a D2C business. Honasa is an example, Mama Earth, that trades at 4 times sales. This is a much more asset heavy, more painful business. Logistics is it's much harder here. And so I think this will always be a little more constrained on growth. It's also coming at, forgetting now, P multiple obviously does not matter. I mean, it's barely profitable. I think I'm forgetting the EBITDA multiple now, but yeah, it is, I think 25-30 times this year EBITDA. So it doesn't feel like there is too much left on the table. There isn't, like in my view, maybe like flattish to slightly positive. This is not something that I see as a crazy growth story, either 20-25% at a smaller scale than most of the other peers that come. They're doing 25% at 7,000, 8,000 crore scale. This is doing it at like 1,000 crore scale. So I'm a little neutral on this company. Is not that exciting. I feel that the Diwali bump up would have also helped them in H1, which will not be there in H2. And it's not really a platform business. There isn't like some crazy scope for monetization. It's just going to be adding more categories, trying to open more stores, the operational kind of thing. So I'm okay on this company. Not a very exciting new age company in my view.
Understood. Thank you for your review. How was the anchor list?
It was okay. I mean, there were a few good names. I mean, like I saw Ashoka was there. Amundi was there, bunch of mutual funds. For an 800-900 crore issue, it was decent only, not bad.
Got it. And you're saying that Honasa could be one peer.
Unasa is a more appropriate D2C peer. There's obviously no real peer. And just coming to your Sheila Foam thing, I mean, that though obviously is a stupid comparison. And if you look at this Sheila Foam's P multiple, it's at some 80, 90 times. I'm forgetting the number. It's like some crazy multiple. So, but of course, nobody puts that when they're comparing it. Uh, Sheila Foam, I think in their interviews also they're saying there's this, there's a very competitive space. They're struggling with competition. The competition is Wakefit and the 3-4 other D2C companies that have come and eaten their lunch. So they are struggling because they're not able to keep up with what these guys are doing. So I don't think Sheila Foam is. I mean, it's growing at some 3-5% year on year for like the last 3-4 years because they've just not been able to uh, manage the guys who are coming and selling online and doing this proper omni-channel play versus what Sheila Foam does. So I don't think Sheila Foam is even a relevant peer in that sense. Like you can't compare its multiples because all the other metrics are not relevant. I think people will value this more like a D2C omni-channel fast growth business than a Sheila Foam zero growth old school kind of business.
But isn't Sheila Foam Kurlon?
Yes, it is. They're all offline generational businesses.
Offline still Kurlon sells too. Like offline still people just go and buy Kurlon.
Sorry.
Like offline still people just go and buy Kurlon, right? Like
Definitely.
Kurlon is a brand and it shows, right? 106p. You were forgetting the number. It's
That's only
Sheila Foam.
because its earnings have dropped. So it is like like their margins have gotten compressed because they've not been able to compete with these new guys that have come in and shaken up the market so fast and are backward integrating so quickly that it was at a much lower P and it has gone up now temporarily because not temporarily but their margins have compressed from the same scale. They were at like 3x the profit like 3 years ago.
Got it. Got it. Understood. Yeah, I remember using this company called the Sleepy Cat. I don't know
Yeah,
which
yeah,
brand
yeah.
I did, but yeah, that's one a good
Yeah.
brand which I used.
I mean, I would say that, see, at one level, I've never found a real differentiation between this Wakefit and the Sleepy Cat and Sleepy Head, and there are a bunch of them. The only one that's a little premium is the Sleep Company because they claim to have this technology from outside. Because I also recently was trying to buy a new mattress that also gone through these companies. They all look very similar. So I don't even know what it is about Wakefit. I feel a lot of it is just down to operational execution than any real brand, hard brand. These guys are probably just really good at delivering on time and having good customer experience and just doing everything you expect of an online business. Like I said, this is fairly complex category. Logistics is not straightforward, especially when you get into furniture and stuff. I've done this, I've run this. It's not an easy business to do. Not anyone can do it. It's not like couriering a phone or couriering specs. So that operational challenge allows for a moat, but it also allows for making it harder to scale as you get bigger and bigger. Like there is no way if this guy is at a 3,000 crore business, he's going to keep growing at 25%. He'll probably be growing at 10-12% at that point, just because it's hard to do. And there's a lot of back end logistics and stuff that needs to be set up, different types of warehouses that can handle bulky goods that makes this hard to scale.
Understood. Got it. Let's see how the market evaluates and lists this company. But interesting. We'll see. We'll probably again see how the subscription is, etc. Take a short-term point. But yeah, that is with respect to Wakefit. With that, we have covered the four companies for today. KB Toys we will not be covering, and that will complete the companies till 10th. We'll come back and probably do one more space towards the end of the week to talk about companies which are closing on 12th. We'll see. But yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining us today. If you haven't followed the Twitter account, Sunday Investing, go ahead and do that. We'll post, if you have missed any IPOs reviews as well, we'll post the YouTube link there as well. And then see you again, hopefully towards the end of the week. In the meanwhile, happy IPOing and have a good day. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.